What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Beside FC channel. I'm Nia Matt, and I hope you're all doing great. What's a day for Chelsea? Big news for Chelsea. A lot of transfer outs for Chelsea, and there have been so many here we goes for Chelsea today, and I think this is the most that we've had in a day by Fabrizio Romano. And I want to talk about it. I want to go through it. I didn't want to release a video because there were rumors, and I was suspecting that they will be done very, very soon, so I didn't want to release a video earlier on. But now most of them have been done and we can talk about it, so I'm going to go through them one after the other and we can delve in more. And so strap in, there's a lot to talk about today, so let's get straight into it. Firstly, we have to welcome Christopher Nkunku to the club. Yesterday he was announced. It was official by the Chelsea Twitter handle, and on the website where he was announced. He's finally a blue. Terms have already been agreed with him prior to this announcement, like I think 2 windows back or a window back. He just had to see out the season with Leipzig, and I'm excited to see what he does for Chelsea. I'm really, really excited. He's a very, very promising player. His dribbling ability is fantastic. He has immense pace, and he's definitely going to add a lot to our attack. And I'm hoping that he's not like one of those players who are very good in their clubs, and when they come to Chelsea they can't do well. I'm hoping that Mauricio Pochettino is able to improve him and maintain that standard that he has, and yes, and make him better. That's what I'm hoping for. So welcome Nkunku, and we'll get more from him as the day progresses. But he was officially announced yesterday, and he's one of the players that have come in so far. And yeah, I'm suspecting others will come in so far, but right now I think we are focusing more on getting players out of the club or selling players before we get players in, because last season we had a very, very big squad and we are offloading them. The Chelsea overhaul has officially begun. So let's go straight to transfer outs, which players are going out, and they are main, believe me, they are main. I know some of you have already seen some of these things, but we'll have to talk about it and go through the tweets that Fabrizio Romano has been putting out. So let's talk about the big one. The big one is Havertz to Arsenal. And I did a video that was about to release today before all this news came out, so I just scrapped that video. Now I wanted to wait and see what other news will come out today before I release a video, and it seems like these ones are set. These ones I'm going to talk about today are set, and Havertz is the first one, and it seems like the deal has been agreed between him and Arsenal, and it just left with the medicals. And yeah, he's going to Arsenal, and it's not an ideal thing selling like one of your brightest players to your rivals. Selling Jorginho, I wasn't really that worried because Jorginho had lost form before he went, and he didn't really prove to be any threat when he went to Arsenal. But with someone like Havertz, with the style of attacking play that Arsenal usually play, he might strive. He might really strive in that system. I don't think they're also going to use him as a striker like how we did. They're going to use him in his preferred position. He's going to be playing behind the striker, so I'm sure he's going to get some success from Arsenal. And yeah, we often say that Arsenal is where Chelsea players go to retire, but I don't think he's going there to retire. I think he's going there to add a lot more to that team, and I can't wish him the best. I love Havertz. I'll continue to love Havertz. His goal won the Champions League for us, our second trophy. So I'm not going to hate on him going there, but it's a rival, and once he puts on the red, I can't support him anymore. I cherish the moments that we had with him, but I can't support him anymore. And last season was a very difficult season for him, and I think that's the reason why he's leaving, because last season was a very difficult one for him. The season before that he was good, but last season it was difficult for him, and he couldn't. It's frustrating to watch him at times. If you follow my channel for some time, I've been saying that it's frustrating to watch him because he gets the chances, he finds good positions, but he can't score, he can't finish, and that's the problem that has been there. So let's read what Fabrizio Romano puts out, then we continue. So he tweeted that Kai Havertz's first Arsenal signing as deal will be completed in the next hours. Here we go. He tweeted this 4 hours ago. £60 million guaranteed fee. I think he wanted in the range of 75 million, but 60 million is probably the most we'll get from Arsenal. 5 million add-ons, long-term deal agreed, so it's not a loan, it's a permanent transfer. Medical tests to be scheduled, so I'm sure by the end of the day to be fully confirmed. But once he has added a here we go, it means that it's going to happen. It's definitely, it's just rarely that he puts a here we go and doesn't happen, but I think this it's definitely going to happen because he has been tweeting about it, and we've been hearing it from other sources too as well. David Ornstein, Simon Phillips, Simon Johnson, they've been saying Matt Law, they've been saying it for some time now. So he's going to be moving now. Arsenal have got their first signing of the season. I think they also want to upload some of their players as well. I think Partey will be leaving. We know it's not really football related, but I don't want to get into that. But he will be their first signing, and yes, he's definitely going to add a lot to that team. Considering how they played last season, he's going to add a lot to that team. I'm sorry if you're hearing some background noises. I'm hoping that this microphone, I'm using OBS, I'm hoping this microphone cuts a lot of it out. But it's raining, it's pouring cats and dogs here, so bear with me. So the next big transfer out of the club is Mateo Kovacic. Mateo Kovacic, earlier on, I think in the week, last week, it was rumored, or it was reported that he was going to join Manchester City, and negotiations were still underway. And it seems like terms have been agreed with him as well. And Fabrizio Romano has also given a here we go for Kovacic, which means it's just medicals needed and pen to paper, and that's it. And yeah, so let's read what he says. Mateo Kovacic joins Manchester City from Chelsea. Fee agreed and done deal. Here we go. Agreement between clubs just reached for £30 million, which is a good fee. Personal terms agreed 2 weeks ago. Kovacic only wanted Man City. Medicals in the next days. New midfielder for Pep. We've lost another player. These are players I'm sure the fan base wanted to see go anyway. Kovacic has been a very, very good servant for Chelsea, and I'm not going to say anything bad about him. Last season, his form wasn't good. Last season, a lot of players' forms were not good, Kovacic being one of them. I've always loved him when he plays in the midfield. Him and Kante, him and Jorginho. He's always been very, very good for us, so I can't really say anything bad about him. I wish him nothing but the best going to Man City. It's an upgrade. It's an upgrade from Chelsea, and it's unfortunate that we have to say that, but yes, they are so much better than us, so much better than us. He's going to be a better midfielder under Pep, and the way he plays, his dribbling ability, second to none at Chelsea. Before we even got Madrid and Madueke, he was the best dribbler in my opinion at the club, and he's the second one leaving the club. And yes, these are players that we need to offload anyway. If these deals are happening and they're happening swiftly, let's welcome it, let's be happy about it and just move on, because he has been at the club, he has won trophies for Chelsea, he has won a Champions League with Chelsea, he has won other trophies with Chelsea, Club World Cup, Super Cup. Todd Bowley isn't playing around. He's really sweeping up all the dead weight in the club. Players that are in the club that are not really pulling their weight, and they are not really giving their all for the club. He's getting rid of them, and I think he wants to set in like a new standard. He wants to bring his players that he has signed, and players that will play for Chelsea, and manager that will also play for Chelsea and work with him well. So yeah, he's not playing around. He's not messing around. Todd Bowley isn't messing around in this transfer window. So Kovacic off to Man City, off to join Pep. So he's the second player that has left the club and joining another Premier League side, one of our rivals. It's going to be interesting, and it's going to be very, very interesting. I've not been a fan of selling to rivals, but like I said, Kovacic is definitely good, but he wasn't good for us. Havertz was good, but he wasn't good for us. We need to get new players. We need to rebuild the club, and yeah. So we move on to what I like to call the Saudi Arabia squad. The first player in the Saudi Arabia squad is Kante. Kante was announced yesterday by Al Ittihad, and he's joined Al Ittihad on a permanent deal, and I think he's going to be paid like 100 million euros or 100 million pounds a year, which is a lot of money, and I think Kante deserves it. Kante really deserves it, and unfortunately, we've not had the best of him in recent years because of his injuries. But even when he comes out from injuries, he's still one of the best players on the pitch, and I remember the times when he was injury free and he was killing it for Chelsea. Like he was unplayable. Like nobody could take the ball away from him, and no player had a good time with him in the team. And I remember the Champions League final, he was by far the best player on the pitch when we played against Man City. And his performances in that Champions League final, he had like 3 man of the match awards leading to that final. He had it in, I think, the home and away against Real Madrid, and then he had the final as well. He's a phenomenal player. He has been phenomenal for Chelsea. He won the Premier League with Leicester, and then won the Premier League with Chelsea, like the first player to do that in the Premier League back to back with 2 different teams. And he's an amazing player. We are going to miss him. But let's be real. He was injured and he wasn't playing regularly. He wasn't playing. We saw him like maybe few games in a year. And with a player like Kante, because he was so crucial to the way we played, we needed to have him every time. We needed to have him majority of the season, but it wasn't meant to be. At least the league that he's going to, he's not going to strain himself too much. He's not going to put pressure on the injury that he already has. He's going to maintain his fitness, and he's going to play to a level that won't really require him to give 100%. But knowing Kante, he's still going to give 100%. He's still going to give 100%, no matter where it is. And yeah, I love the guy. He's one of my favorite players. He's been one of my favorite players since he joined the club, and I wish him the best in Saudi Arabia. I definitely wish him the best in Saudi Arabia. I hope that he does well, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he does there too as well. So thank you so much, Kante, too as well, for all your contributions for Chelsea and all the trophy wins that we've had. You have been the engine of the team. I can't really think about any trophy that we've won without Kante's involvement since he joined. He has been a major part of all our trophies, and I wish you all the best. Now we go to the next person on the Saudi Arabia list, and that is Koulibaly. So Koulibaly also was announced today that he will be joining the Saudi Arabia team, which is Al Hilal. And let's read what Fabrizio Romano tweeted. Understand Al Hilal are now closing in on Kalidou Koulibaly deal. Here we go. Verbal agreement reached with Chelsea. Personal terms also agreed on a 3-year contract. He'll join Ruben Neves. Contracts now being checked and then signed. Here we go. So Koulibaly is another player who didn't really have a good first season at Chelsea. He started very well. He started very, very well. He was one of the brightest stars in the Italian league, in the Italian Serie A at Napoli before he joined Chelsea. And like I said, he started very well. He scored a goal. Remember, he scored first goal and he celebrated like Drogba, and he slid and he celebrated like Drogba. Like we were happy that we finally got another John Terry-esque player. And I remember he even had John Terry's number. He asked John Terry before he took the number, and John Terry approved and gave him the number. So we're like, yeah, this guy is gonna be at Chelsea for a long time. But it wasn't meant to be. He was, like I said, he started very well and then got shaky in the middle of the season, and he was making a lot of mistakes, and sometimes he was slow. He couldn't recover balls quickly. Whenever he was one-on-one with certain players, he wasn't able to, with fast players, he wasn't able to dispossess them or get the better of them. But when he was out of the team for some time and he came back, when Thiago Silva got injured and he came back, I would say he was good. He was very, very good until the end of the season. He didn't make mistakes like he used to do in the middle of the season, but he was good. He was good to the end. But still, because of what he has done, anytime he does any small mistakes, fans blow it up, over exaggerate, and say that he's not good, he's not the best, and all that. But I still had faith in him. I still had faith in him, and I was really hoping that he'd get a second season to prove himself. But having a first season and playing under 4 or 3 different managers isn't really the best for a new player coming in. So it was always going to be different. It was always going to be difficult. But yeah, it wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be. He's yet another player who was good in his previous team, who comes to Chelsea and he doesn't do well, and it's very unfortunate when that thing happened. But he's going to Saudi Arabia, and the Saudi Arabia guys are going to pay him very, very well, and I'm sure he's going to do well too there. Like I said with Kante, it's not really a demanding league, so they are not going to he's not going to stress himself too much there. He has to just focus and do his job and do an adequate job, and he'll be getting paid. So for how long, I don't know. For how long that he's going to stay there, I don't know. I don't know the duration of him being there. But yeah, he's going there, and another player too that is joining him there is Edouard Mendy, and it was already rumored that the two of them might be going to Saudi Arabia. There were interest from Inter Milan for Koulibaly, and there were interest from French teams, I think Marseille, for Mendy, but in the end they both chose to go to Saudi Arabia, definitely for the kaching. So we'll see. Let's read what Fabrizio said for Mendy. I'll post it up here too as well. Understand Chelsea have reached full verbal agreement with Saudi's Ahli to sell Edouard Mendy. Mendy agreed personal terms with Ahli on 3-year deal, as revealed last week. Contract to be checked, then signed if all goes to plan. So they are as a different team. But you see, with this Saudi Arabia teams, they are like government funded, government owned. So they've been given the money to make these sales, and it's similar to what the Chinese did some years ago, a few years ago. I think in 2012, 2013, when they wanted to revamp their league, they wanted to make their league as good as the Premier League. So they're buying stars and paying them huge amounts of money. That's what China did. They also it was just government funded clubs or government owned clubs, and they were given money to pay these players like exorbitant amounts, high amounts to attract them to the club. But I think what worries them, and what will probably worry Saudi Arabia, and what even worries the MLS to a point, is the time zones. The time zones, people aren't awake at the times that their games are being played, and people aren't awake the times that Saudi Arabia games are being played as well. But I think Saudi Arabia's own is a little bit better than China, because China, maybe they are playing in the afternoon, everybody's asleep, like majority of the world is asleep, or they're playing in the evening, and majority of the world is awake, like an hour awake. So we can't really wait and watch their football, and it is not really that attractive like they wanted it to be. And I think Saudi Arabia to also face the same thing. So Mendy is also the next. I went on a tangent there, but Mendy is also the next player to join Saudi Arabian team, that's Ahli. And you guys know how I feel about Mendy, and he's one player that I'll always love, because his performances in that Champions League run was just fantastic. He won the best goalkeeper of the year. He I think he won the best goalkeeper in the Champions League tournaments. He was in the team 11, UEFA team 11. I mean, he was fantastic that season. He was really fantastic that season. I don't know what happened, and he started making mistakes. He started making little errors, and all of a sudden he was replaced by Kepa, and then we forgot he even existed. And apparently, too, behind the scenes negotiations for new contracts to haven't really gone well. So he was expected to leave. He was expected to leave. Like, we are definitely keeping Kepa, and he is the one out of the door. I wish him all the best. I'm a broken record. I'm wishing all these players all the best, because they've been good servants for Chelsea in the past, and I don't really want to ignore what they've done for Chelsea in the past and just hate on them. But he's going to Saudi. I would have preferred that they go to European teams to prove themselves. Like I'm hoping, I was hoping that he goes to France. He goes back to France, Marseille, or whatever it is, or Monaco, to prove himself. I was hoping that Koulibaly goes to Inter Milan, and we see what will happen, what he can do for himself there, and hopefully win more titles with them. But I think with the Saudi Arabia thing, they're all going for money. Then they are paying big bucks. So when they are paying big bucks, as for a footballer, it's it's an easy decision for them to make. So all the best to him too as well. The last player on the list, on the Saudi Arabia list, is Hakim Ziyech. I mean, we know that Hakim Ziyech has a desire to leave the club for some time now. Last transfer window, he was supposed to join PSG, and there were issues between the contracts and faxing and all that, and he didn't go. I don't know whether it was from outside or from PSG side, but something happened and he didn't go. And now he's joining another Saudi Arabia team, and he's also going to be paid good, very, very good. Ziyech never really took off at Chelsea. He's had some brilliant moments here and there, but he has never really been consistent. He has never really taken off properly at Chelsea. Considering how he was huge to Ajax's success before he joined Chelsea, it was very, very disappointing with how some of his performances were. Sometimes he couldn't even take players on, he couldn't run, he couldn't even cross his signature crosses, he couldn't do it. Like, it was very, very difficult. But when he was on, he was really, really on. And he was very, very good in Champions League games too as well. Not in the Premier League, but in Champions League games, he was very, very good. He could shine in Champions League games. But it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. It wasn't something that we were expecting from him. We expected more from him. We didn't see more from him. It's unfortunate. It's very, very unfortunate that it didn't happen. Let's go to the tweet. Understand Al Nassr have reached full verbal agreement with Hakim Ziyech to join the club. Personal terms agreed. Ziyech will sign until June 2026 if all goes to plan. Agreement reached also with Chelsea, waiting to prepare, then sign contracts. Here we go. So it's official. So today, in just a span of 10-11 hours, we've sold 4 players: Ziyech, Koulibaly, Mendy, Kovacic, and then Havertz. So five players who so transferred out of the club, and that makes room for new players to join the club. I'm just hoping that we get good replacements, and yeah, so it's all on Todd Bowley. Todd Bowley, make this work. But I'm happy that we've had the overhaul. I'm happy that we've cleared players from the roster because we had a big roster last season. These are the this is the transfer update so far, and there was a little amount. I think Manchester United sent in a bid that was rejected. I think the club still wants the 70 million for Manchester for Mount. So we'll see how that progresses. If there's any progression there, I'll make another video and update you guys. Sorry for the long video. We've had a lot today. We've had a lot in the last 12 hours. I'll try and put in time chapters in the description down below so that you can skip in and just go to the side that you want to watch. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you're not subscribed, kindly subscribe and give the video a like if you enjoyed it. It helps the video a lot. It pushes it out there for other Chelsea fans to also see the video. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. So until then, stay safe.